Hey guys, Mike Toy, Bonsai Boise. So I thought I'd give you just a quick update on this little willow bonsai. I think I made this video late summer, early fall last year, 2020. And it started as a cutting originally, I think probably that spring before that, so spring of 2020. And it developed roots really easily and I turned it into a bonsai. So today what I'm gonna do is just trim it back, and I'm gonna scrape some of this, my attempt at putting some moss on here. And I'm gonna give a close up here in a second so that you can see what I'm talking about and why I'm doing these things. And I'll talk about the pros and cons of trimming it at this stage, being mid-May. So it's a little early in the season to be doing trims, a little bit, but I'll tell you why I'm gonna do it. So follow me, we'll zoom in and we'll get to work. All right, so here's a closer look. So I potted this last fall, or maybe it was late summer. I'll put a link to that video right here so you can see that process. But as you can see, it did survive and it took off and it's growing real well. So the two things I'm doing today, like I said, I'm going to trim it back quite a bit, and I'm going to scrape some of this top layer of soil and what's left of the sphagnum moss off, and I'll talk about why. But first, I was going to tell you some of my reasoning for trimming it back right now. Usually I would wait a little longer for a couple of reasons. One, I would wait until this hardens off a little more. It's still a little green. And two, I just, would try to let it really grow big and then clip it back. But in this particular case, I'm not doing that strategy. I'm going at it with a little bit more of a clip as I go, clip and grow. The pros and cons to that are it slows the growth down more. At least in my experience, it slows the growth down quite a bit more when you clip it as you go, when you're just constantly kind of keeping it manicured and pruned, rather than letting it bush way out and then chop it way back and bush way out and chop it way back. It stays healthier when you go about it that way. But this being a willow, and it being in a relatively small pot, I'm gonna take it out of this little saucer here. Willows are very fast growers. So I can sort of get away with cutting it back so soon. Willows, like I said, they just grow back so quick. You can't hardly stop them from growing back. And two, being in a small pot, my longer term vision for it is to keep it in a small pot. I've got a couple other willows that I'm working on, and they're both big. One of them is maybe medium size and the other one is probably considered large. So I wanted a small one. So that's kind of the destiny for this one. So that's why I'm trimming it back sooner rather than later. Now, as for why I'm getting rid of this moss, as you can see, it's kind of green. Here, if I take these rocks off, you can see the difference in color there. Hopefully you can see that. It's, more of that gray color than it is up here, which is green. And in my experience, that always happens. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. One, I live out in the desert and I have no choice but to water with regular tap water. We don't get rainwater, so I can't use rainwater or collect it the way some people can. I wish I could, but I can't. So I've got that to contend with. When you use tap water, the chemicals in it, the chlorine and whatnot, tend to turn the moss either brown or it makes it this kind of moldy stuff. So I don't know why, but that's just what I've learned. So I got some, I bought some different moss this time around and used it, and the same thing happened. It's sphagnum moss, which you may know that sphagnum moss is typically what you use when you're doing an air layer. Air layer being when you score a ring of bark off and put some sphagnum moss on it and then wrap it in plastic, and then it grows new roots there, and boom, you cut it later that year and you've got a new air layer tree. Sphagnum moss is what you use for that. But this was a different decorative type of sphagnum moss, so I thought, it might be worth trying. As you can see, it didn't work out. It's green, it's moldy, it's gross. It actually, I think it harms the plant after a while too. And some other plants I've had, it did harm it. So I'm gonna rack that experience up as a non-win. But first, let's go ahead and do some trimming. Right off the bat, I'm seeing this branch shooting across like that. And I don't want that because the structure goes up one trunk and then splits off into two and then two into four. And this guy is just not going the way we want it to go. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Same thing here. Get rid of that. Now we can see it a little bit better. Same with this one. This one is just shooting right straight across. Now we can start to see it a little bit better. I'm going to take it back to about 3 or 4 leaf sets. So at least for now, and I might go more. Sometimes I sort of inch my way there. Let's see. Got these little guys here, and I don't know yet if I want to keep them or not. I keep them for now, because I can always take them off, but I can't put them back on. I'll take this one back to about there. Yeah, I can tell you already this one's not gonna, at least not where it's at. So this leaf is it's facing out that way. So I'm gonna cut right above that for now. I may get rid of that branch altogether, but yeah, I am gonna get rid of that branch altogether. I don't like that at all. Guess I had to work my way there just to see it. Same with this. And same with this. But at least now I know for sure. I'm not going to wonder, should I have? Yeah, now I know. This one here is growing down, which you typically don't want, but this being willow, maybe. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work my way into it. This one back here. Let's see. I'm going to take it to there for now. Yeah, I don't think that one's going to work at all. I don't want any crossing branches. I might just let this one go. It's not getting in the way of anything. It's going in the direction that I want. So yeah, we'll live and let live there. Meanwhile, this guy here, I'm going to take it back to there for a minute and see how it looks. I think I may end up getting rid of it or going back further at least. Yeah, see, I don't like the way that those are going down like that. In fact, let me lower the camera so you can get a better look here. 1 second. So we're going to let this one go. This one's going way back and it's just kind of going straight out like that, which I don't think I want it going quite that long. It's tempting sometimes to let some of these branches just go the distance and deal with it later. It took me too long to figure out that you don't want to do that, because what you end up getting is kind of like a lot of wasted energy and wasted time, because branches continue to grow and you work on it and you sort of, it just becomes part of the design, and then next thing you know, you've got this really long straight branch that later you're just not happy with and you got to deal with it. So it's kind of better just to deal with it sooner rather than later. I'm not really loving this either. I don't like how long and straight it is already. I think we're going to take it back to 1. I can live with that for now. And this one here, I don't like how straight that is. I kind of want to shoot out that way more. So I'm going to take it back to there. Now we got these guys here in the back going straight down. Give you a better look here. You see it is going straight down like that. That's not going to work in any scenario. Still a little unsure about this guy here, but for now, I'll let him go. We'll see what happens. I think maybe now that more light can get to it, it might start to curve back toward the sun. So that might straighten itself out. I am breaking a few rules here by, you know, it goes from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 4, but then I've got some doubling up, so that's okay. That's one thing I like about willows is that they're so forgiving. You can kind of play around with them a little bit and fix it later if you want. I've got a pretty decent idea of long-term vision for this, so I'm going to stick with it. So I think that's good on the trimming for now. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use this to put this old moss in. Now I'm just going to scrape the top layer off of this. Let's see if I can find a smart way to do this. There we go. I'm going to put some fresh soil on top. So I'm just scraping the top layer off. Anything that has a little bit of that moldy look to it. Any leftover sphagnum moss. It had more sphagnum moss, but I don't know, a week or two ago, I kind of saw what was happening, and I just, while I was out there watering them all, I just sort of grabbed it and tried to get it off, sort of willy-nilly at the time, but I left some, apparently. I think that's probably good. Yeah, well, maybe. There. I'll probably see some that I missed as soon as I watch this video. That always happens when I watch it later. I'm like, hey, right there. How are you missing that? Okay. So that's that. Let me go get some soil to replenish what I just scraped off of there. I'll be right back. All right. I got some new soil here. I'm gonna just put a fresh layer on top. You know, like I was mentioning earlier, willow trees are such fast growers that I'm gonna guess within a month for sure, this thing will be grown out at least to the point that I had it before I started this. Probably more. I'm gonna put that there. Put my fancy little decoration rocks in there. I think I had a few of these back there. I usually do this just to sort of hold it in place in case it gets windy or something. And the rest are just decoration. So I'm going to put it back outside now and give it a good water, and that'll be that. But that part won't be exciting, so I'll just wrap it up with this. That's the willow in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to, like I said, I'll post a link to the origins of this Willow Bonsai up there so that you can click it and see kind of how it started and follow its progress from there. But I was surprised at how many people liked that video and have asked me for an update on this tree, because it was really just a little clipping that I hadn't thought much about at the time. I liked it. I still like it. I wouldn't work on it if I didn't like it, but I was just surprised at the difference, because there's it's a funny thing when you make these videos sometimes is you work on something you think is just the coolest tree ever, and you put all this attention into the video and people are like, man, it's all right, sure. But then people will like one that you were, the other way around, where you're like, yeah, this tree's cool, and people like it. There's been a few like that. Some of my favorite trees are, my ugliest ones that people don't really like. That's okay. That is okay. I just get a kick out of it. Anyways, hope you got a kick out of this. Please like and subscribe. If so, you can follow this and see updates on it as it progresses, and all my others. I got lots of others too. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.